What up? Let's start with our stretches. We'll put something on in the background. We're gonna start low key. We're gonna zone the fuck out. We'll put Why Kabbalah is a Secret. Why is Kabbalah a secret? By Rabbi Simon Jacobson.
Simon Jacobson here, and we will be speaking about why Kabbalah is a secret. So recently, the word Kabbalah has become very popular, fashionable. Program directors tell me that if you add Kabbalah to the title of a class or to the subject line in an email, you get many more visitors.
So I
many
figured
more
out some more
attendees.
details to the stretches we're
Most
trying to
likely.
do. I was looking up some information. Basically, we gotta do the stretch
So what
in
is it
both
about
directions,
Kabbalah
not
that
just one
intrigues
direction.
people?
And then we could also do it with the
Perhaps
whole
you could
hand
say it may
once
be
we've gone through
connected
each
to
finger.
It's aura.
And we could also do
mystique
it like sideways,
secret
like we're
nature
stretching
of Kabbalah.
fingers
that was always studied.
out
in
instead of
secret.
up and down. So
But
let's
what
just try to
exactly is
move,
Kabbalah?
stretch our fingers in every single
I would
direction,
even say
basically.
what exactly is a secret for that matter. You know, we like the exotic. We like the exotica, things that are not obvious. Some people feel it's like a refreshing
So I'm just trying to
breath
get
of
the
air
blood flowing,
that
I
they're doing
guess.
something that's out of the ordinary.
Supposed to do that.
There's the
Massage
regular
them
regimen
bitches.
and boring, tedious monotony of our lives, and here you are, secrets, the deeper secrets. But I think what we really need to discuss is what exactly is a secret, and why are some things hidden. And I think through that we can understand the deeper meaning and even the surprising
I was just hearing a story about a
secrets of
pianist
what Kabbalah really is.
whose fingers
That's what I'll be
seized
addressing.
up and then he couldn't open and close them
And,
anymore. And he had to stop
Essentially
his
going on a journey
piano career for
into,
decades.
like, there
But he
was a journey
switched to teaching
30,000 leagues under the sea,
instead of playing. And then after
or
decades
30,000
of
leagues
having
under the earth.
his fingers
So we're going on a journey. This is not a
unable to
physical
open
journey,
and
it's a spiritual
close
journey
and unable to
to
perform.
plumb
There was
deeper
a new
recesses
treatment for it
of our
and he
psyches,
got to play
of the
again,
cosmos,
but with a renewed
to understand ourselves
perspective.
in a different way by looking at that which is we'll call the secret part of our lives. And I know for some people the word secret conjures up all kinds of negative things, the ugly stuff, the stuff we're ashamed of, the stuff we do in private.
But
that
we don't
nobody
want our
else sees.
fingers season up, so we're gonna do
But as we
these
will
stretches.
we will be discussing, there is that element, but the true secrets and the true hidden mysteries of our psyches, our souls, and we'll call it traveling into the heart of our inner beings, inner psyche is actually quite fascinating. Just like when you travel and you
All right,
see
so
today
shake
we have
'em out.
cameras that go deep under the sea or deep into caves. And
That's a little bit of an
subterranean
autistic movement. These
caverns,
handshake.
and you discover this fascinating life that's there. Even the forces
That's
that
something
shape
a lot
life
of autistic people seem
above
to
the
do.
ground. You can think of a volcano being
They get
over
too
the door
excited.
that
The
opens
sensory
up,
overload for the
belly of
autistic. They
Earth.
go. "Ugh."
and the hot lava and the tremendous heat that lies at the center of our earth core, at the core.
All right, I think we got
Then
enough
you see
blood
it
flowing.
explode and erupt.
So then, here's what we do. Take the
You
finger.
get that
We
sense
put the
like
hand out.
geysers
We
in
pull the
Yellowstone
finger
Park.
back, and then we do the grabby motion.
And
You see
you
this?
can also say
Grab.
psychologically, and sometimes we have an eruption and we have a expression, whether it could be anger or it could be profound joy, that also reveals and opens
Right.
up something from our inner belly,
Then we go the
of
other
our own
direction.
being. And as I've always talked
And
about,
the opposite of the
in
grab.
contrast to classic Freudian thought that at the heart, the belly of the human being is a beast, the id,
Right. Let me do this finger.
we go with the approach,
And you do
and I think this
grabby.
is based on a universal Torah psychological approach that at the
And we
the
don't actually have to
belly of
lock
who
our
you are,
elbow. I
not
looked
a
it up.
beast, is
The
actually an
locked
angel.
elbow is not a requirement for
Beautiful
the stretch. That's what I
beautiful
thought.
elements that are waiting to be released. So we're going to talk about this and the whole idea of secrets and the hidden, and through that come back and understand why is Kabbalah a secret. So I'll begin with a very simple analogy. We talk about secrets. Interesting paradox.
All right.
And that is that
Let me hold this finger back.
when
we do
someone asks you
grabby.
about the weather, or to speak about sports, or about the economy, or about Trump, or about any other lightning rod of our times. We usually have a lot to say. People talk. You see talk radio, people talking, gossiping, conversations about superficial things that really don't have necessarily much meaning and definitely not life and death significance. And we can talk and talk. We have a lot of words. Just turn on a radio, turn on a TV, go onto the internet and just see the gab, right? What do they call it? Jabber? It's called the flow of conversation. When someone comes by contrast and asks you, tell me about yourself, tell me about the real you, what makes you tick, the inner part of yourself,
now we're at the pinky.
of your psyche, you'll find that people have very few words. Not only because they don't trust someone to share with them, but even with people we trust, we don't have many words. We're a lack of words when it comes to deeper experiences, which seems like an oddity. It seems like ironic, actually, because when it comes to self, the thing you know most, the thing that's closest to you, the thing that matters most to you, the things you love, the things you don't love, the needs
All
you
right,
have.
now we're gonna
inner
try
needs.
this. We're gonna
would
stretch
seem
our
that you have a
fingers
lot to
out sideways.
Because this is like what you really
So
live with, the
basically,
things
that
really matter,
involves us like
the things
doing
that give
this.
bring you happiness, the things that cause you sadness, your psychological sense of self, your fears, your confidence.
See this? Kind of hold them apart like
It
that.
all works. We find very few words.
You're kind of doing like the
When it comes to these
Vulcan thing
superficial
for
things,
each
we
of
can
the
talk and talk and
fingers.
talk and talk. How much can we talk about the weather?
Right.
Endless. Some
And
people
you'll
actually
shake
find
that
it
out.
great because it's a great distraction. There's nothing else to talk about. You could always say, you know what? Let's talk about the weather. It was gonna snow.
All right, so that's our
Didn't
left
snow.
hand,
It may
and
snow.
just
There's always tomorrow.
what is
It's
it?
snow. It's gonna turn
Anecdotally, however I
cold.
describe
It's
it,
cold.
that
I've seen
feels
so much
like that
cold,
we just
and
did a
comes
more
the heat.
effective stretch than we've
Right.
been doing the past
Right.
couple of days.
And
So
then
now let's
all
do
the
our
other
right hand.
superficial nonsense that we can go on and on and on about. I have nothing against sports. We all love sports. But look, I'm a sports radio. I sometimes listen just to see how millions of people, what they're preoccupied with. And even out of the season, there's the trading season. And then there's the postseason. And there's the preseason. And then there's the season. And then there's the analysis. And this mistake and that mistake. All about what? A game that makes really no difference in anything that really matters in life. So it's not just the game. Now the game has a whole culture around the game. And the analysis before the game and after the game. And they march all the experts of ex-coaches, football coaches to analyze, and halftime reports, and post-game reports, and pre-game reports. Super Bowl is coming. That's a whole culture of its own, a whole day, a whole week. For some people, it's a whole month, etc., etc., etc. Let's talk about ourselves. Let's talk about our state of happiness. We don't have much to say. Real
All right,
things.
now it's stretching the other
Because
direction.
some people say, well, that's why I go to a therapist. I pay a therapist to listen to me. Most people are not interested in what's going on inside me, but it's more than that. We really find less words when we have to express a deeper thing. Why is that? So I've discussed this many, many times. It's a fascinating paradox, but it reveals an
Right,
unbelievable
so now let's pull the
truth
fingers
that's
forward
always
instead
vital
of
to
backwards.
hold on to. And here's
Right.
the rule. The deeper the experience, the less tools and instruments do we have
As
to
well.
express that.
We'll do that additionally, basically
The
is what
more
I meant to
casual,
say.
the more shallow the experience,
Not
the
instead.
more expression there is. To use the language of the Kabbalists, talk about the mystics, the Kabbalists, Kabbalah, where there's greater light, there's less containers. Where there's more containers, there's less light. Because the intensity
Oh yeah, and then there's
of a
this one,
deeper,
where you pull
intimate
all
feeling
the fingers back like that.
simply cannot be contained by just conventional language. So we talk about things that don't have much so-called light and energy in it. You can go on and on and on.
I gotta do the sideways stretch
But
on
you
this
talk about
hand
something
too.
that has, let's say, a very deep impact on
So
you.
I think the sideways stretch
Let's
is probably
speak more
less
positive
important
and
on this one than it is on the
tremendously
fretting
positive,
hand. This is the
joyous
picking
moment.
hand.
Moment
The
of
fretting
awe.
hand, the
A
sideways
magical
stretch
moment.
probably helps a
Someone
lot.
describe it. You'll say it's beyond description. That's usually the words we use. Can't really describe it. It's indescribable. You had to be there. You have to see it for yourself. You have to experience it yourself. That doesn't mean we have any words, but we don't have many words because it's the intensity
Alright,
of the
now we're gonna
experience
shake it all
far
out.
overwhelmed, so to speak. And
Put
like
your
it's
right
like
hand
pouring
in. You put your right hand
a
out.
liquid that completely overwhelms the container in
And you
which you
shake
want
it
to
all
use.
about.
Because the intensity of the experience is so much more powerful. The same
That's
thing.
what it's
I-
all
negative,
about.
Trauma. Describe trauma. Describe your feelings. Even after time, it becomes very difficult. We can burst out crying. And we see when people experience trauma, they have no words. They can't even
Okay,
cry.
so now
Because
we're gonna
there's
get
no
into our
expression.
spider
We'll soon
walks.
talk about that some more. So that's the interesting thing. The deeper the
And
experience, the more real it is. The
I
more
had found a
intimate it is,
bunch of
the less
spider walk
contained you have to
variations
describe it.
that
So what do we
I'm
do
very
to describe
interested
a
in
more
trying. But we're gonna
intense
start
experience?
by just our basic
We use
spider
the language
walk.
of metaphor.
I'm gonna start at
Poetry.
80.
It could be music, song.
I'm gonna pause this even. I'm gonna like really focus on this. And we're gonna focus on having really good form. We're gonna start with whole notes, then we're gonna go to half notes, and then we're gonna go to eighth notes. Or quarter notes rather. And then we're gonna, once we do a bunch of clean versions for each of those note variations, note values, then we're gonna up it by 10. And we're gonna try to reach for, I don't know, we're just gonna try to get above 100 clean with those 4 level of note values. But the thing is, if we get to 100 and then we're playing with quarter notes at 100 BPM, that's sort of like playing with whole notes at 400 BPM, which is very fast. So that's a reasonable goal for today. Alright, so we're going to start very slow at 80. Let me put a clean amp sound first too, so we can get the notes to ring out. We're not going to use any distortion or anything. There, that's very clean. Here we go. Oops. Usually takes us like a couple seconds to get into the zone. Oh yeah, and yesterday we had figured out that we can switch between descending while descending and ascending while ascending to descending while ascending and ascending while descending while we're doing our spider walk. And what I mean by that is right now we're ascending while we're ascending. So basically what that means is that as we're going up each of the 6 strings, we're also going up our 4-note spider walk pattern, right? And then while we're descending the 6 strings, we're also descending our 4-note spider walk pattern. But we can switch that and descend our 4-note spider walk pattern while we are ascending the 6 strings, right? And so we can switch between that and get a different organization of notes. And it kind of flexes our brain in a slightly different way. I think we're in drop D right now, so we can tune up. If the tuning doesn't really matter while you're doing the spider walk, but why not? It's probably a good idea. Here, I'm just gonna play very, I'm just gonna try to play so that we can just get into it, and then we're gonna get more into our focused spider walk practice. sloppy. And so I've discovered, I don't know if these are quite spider walk variations, but they're based on similar chromatic ideas, right? So spider walk, we'd use our 4 fingers and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, dun, 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 dun. And then we have these variations where we mess around with the fingering order. So it's like second finger, fourth finger, first finger, third finger, right? 2, 1, or 2, 4, 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, 3. As opposed to 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or we can do this 1, 4, 2, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3. Or 4, 3, 1, 2, 4, 3, 1, 2, 4, 3, 1, 2, 4, 3, 1, 2. Those are all 4 finger chromatic phrasings, right? And so then another thing we could do is just make them 2 finger things. So we can go 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, and just focus on doing it with 2 fingers. Or we can go 3, 4, 3, 4. So we use our second finger and a third finger. So 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. And so we can isolate each little variation like that. And so I think what I want to try to do, since I think I'm just going to be working till about like 4 o'clock today, and we're just going to continually do this. So that's going to be 6 hours we got. I'm going to put a ton of effort into these spider walk variations and isolate every single tiny little variation. So we can do third finger, fourth finger, which is our ring finger and our pinky, and just do that. Right? Now we're not going to go right into that. I think we're going to do that after we do all of our variations. But I think if we do that, we do our regular spider walk and try to regularly speed it up. We do our Cthulhu variation. We do the different fingering variations. And when we do the metal shape and potentially the dream sequence shape, that is a very solid spider walk warm-up. And then we also mix note values while we're doing that, right? So we do whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, etc. So I think if we it's like you would think that the spider walk is not the most important exercise, but I actually think it potentially is the most important. Because it's like we can like spend a lot of time on these weird picking styles. Sweep picking, alternate picking, or I don't know, alternate picking is that weird, but you get what I'm saying? You spend a lot of time on that. What's to be really as a basis for every single possible thing you can learn is being able to put your fingers precisely and have them ring out at a consistent rhythm without having other strings play. Right? And so that is the basis for every single other style of everything. And so I can't imagine that that's what we're going to spend like all of our time practicing every day. But if we spend a lot of time working on the spider walk, I think that will have permanent ripple effects on our fingering style. And I think it already has. And so because we've isolated this anchoring idea, but there's a lot of different things you can practice through spider walks. So let's just get into this. Start with whole notes, and we're going to go to half notes, and then we're going to go to quarter notes, and we're going to go up and down for 4 runs, I guess. And then we're going to switch to the descending while ascending, ascending while descending. And we're going to do that for each note value variation, starting now. See? We make little mistakes, and that's not good. Alright, now we're going to descend while we're ascending. Now we're going to ascend while we're descending. So I guess the idea is that over a long period of time, we're going to learn to be able to do this at short, or slow rather, medium, and very fast tempos. And if we can maintain a rhythm at slow, medium, and fast tempos and be able to accommodate all these complexities, then we'll be able to essentially play at any tempo. Right? And then it's just all about the integration. We got to try to work on all these little fronts and then combine them into one. So now we're going to switch to half notes. Not good enough. Alright, we're going to try that again. And also, it's just occurred to me that the way we're doing this is exactly correct. We're starting with whole notes, which is a very slow speed. Then we switch to half notes, which is like 160, because we're at 80. And so then that is a medium tempo. And then we switch to quarter notes, which is like 160, is like 320 BPM. And so we practice in slow, medium, and fast, right? And then we try to up it by 10 after we go through them and get it good. So that is a very, so now we've dialed in how we're going to practice spider walk a lot better, right? What we used to do is we used to aimlessly go all the way up and down, right? Just all the way up and down. But now we're trying to isolate and just like get it tight, right? while ascending. Oops, not good. So other than a small mistake we made towards the end, that was actually very, very good. We're definitely zeroing in on our technique here. We've made a lot of improvement, but it's not good enough. So now we're going to do eighth note, or quarter notes rather, which means 4 notes in between each beat. Oops, here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, So very sloppy. Very, very sloppy. And so it might be worth slowing down. What we can do though is just try going up and down through that at that speed again. Or what we can do is try mixing note values, right? So we could start in half notes. You see what I'm saying? Almost threw up there, weirdly enough. That was a close one. That would have been awkward. Alright. Quarter note. So let's do this. Half notes. Let's try mixing note values. So we'll do one run as half notes. Dun, 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 dun. Then we do 2 runs as quarter notes. And then we're going to go back to the quarter notes and try doing them just by themselves. But if we practice doing them in short bursts, that'll get us more comfortable playing at that speed. So that when we try to do the whole run at that speed, we'll have more of a basis. Alright, we just switched to full quarter notes. So clearly our technique for that at this speed is not there. But essentially, it's equivalent to playing at 320 BPM, the way we're doing it. Because we're playing at 80, and we can do whole notes perfectly, and we can do half notes perfectly, right? And half notes is 160, so then quarter notes is 320 BPM, essentially. So I'm gonna lower it to 70, and then we're gonna do that same thing. We're gonna do whole notes, half notes, and then quarter notes. Just because we can play flat doesn't mean it's not extremely important to play slow too. It's almost harder to keep a beat at a slow rhythm. That's the reality. Alright, switching to half notes. Now we're switching to descending while ascending. Now this is quarter notes. Alright, descending while ascending, ascending while descending. So at 70, we can play quarter notes perfectly. I don't know about perfectly, but good enough to pass. You get a passing grade on that. So then, now that we just did that, so then, okay, we're supposed to do the math real quick. 70 times 2 is 140. 140 times 2 is 280. So those quarter notes are essentially like playing at 280 BPM, right? So let's bump it back up to 80, and let's give this another go. We'll start with whole notes. And the idea is, we're playing at 3 speed levels for each of these slow BPMs. So then, when we bring it up to the higher BPMs, we'll be playing at 3 speed levels for, we'll basically just be covering a lot of ground, essentially. while descending, or descend while ascending. I probably shouldn't have paused there, but it's alright. And so I think this is genuinely the optimal way to practice the spider walk. Playing at these 3 speed levels for each BPM and trying to raise the BPM steadily. So you practice at mid-tempo, slow tempo, and fast tempo at different BPMs. And then eventually the idea is, I guess, is that we'll be starting at a fast BPM and then be playing very fast BPMs, right? Alright, now we're going to do half notes. This is 160 basically. Now I think I'm most comfortable at mid tempos. Alright, now we're going to try to do the quarter notes that we were having trouble with a second ago. A little bit better, still not great. Let's try that one more time. Again, a little bit better, but still not great. Really not great. So let's do that one more time, and then we're going to move up to 90. And then when we move up to 90, that'll be a slightly faster slow tempo, a slightly faster mid tempo, and then an even faster high tempo. You see what I'm saying? And so we get to kind of practice within these different dynamic ranges. So let's try to do the quarter notes at 80 one more time. Actually, I'm gonna practice like this for a little bit. I'm just gonna practice trying to get it in rhythm. Alright. 1, 2, 3, go. Really not great, but we'll move on for now. And we're going to keep working on this every day. So let's do 90. And we're going to do whole notes now. So slow it way back down. Now let's do half notes. So now we're going to try to do quarter notes. When we were having trouble with the speed of it at 80, now we're at 90. So 90 times 2 is 180. And 180 times 2 is 360. So essentially playing at whole notes for 360 BPM, which is tough. So we'll see how we can deal with this. This is our fast tempo. So when we switch to ascending while we're descending and descending while we're ascending, that's when things got sloppy. We actually managed to play it decent enough. Now, when I say decent enough, let's not confuse that with good. That was decent enough because we were able to play along with the beat, right? And also have the notes ring out. Now, the room for improvement is to play it less staccato. You know what I mean? Instead of going, you know what I'm saying? You have to be smooth with it. So, here, let me turn the beat back on. When we're playing, so let's try this. Quarter notes at 90. This is how it sounds when we play it. Da, 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 da. It's not very smooth. And so these are the sorts of things that realistically can only come with time. We just need to observe the problem and try to morph it as we work on it. So let's give this another shot at this time, or at this BPM rather. 90, quarter notes at 90. Hang on. Now this is the switch. So let's just try isolating the descending while ascending and ascending while descending and just play that part. Because you see, you hear it? Like we're not playing that very well. We're getting some dead notes. They're not ringing out. Here, let's try switching picks. See, I like this other pick more, but it's been worn down. I like this. This is, see, it's 1 millimeter and it has the grippy thing. This one also has the grippy thing, but it's 0.6 millimeters, and so it's flimsier, but it's not as worn down. So let's move up to 100 just to see where this goes, and then after that, when we try the 3 speeds for 100, we're going to try whole notes at 100, half notes at 100, and quarter notes at 100. We're going to move back down to 60. We started at 80, and then we went down to 70, and then we went back to 80 and moved to 90, and now we're at 100. So here we go. This is whole notes at 100. Now we're switching. Descending while ascending. See what I mean? I don't know what else to call it other than ascending while descending and descending while ascending. Seems like that makes perfect sense to me. Alright, that was whole notes at 100. Now we're going to try half notes. 1, 2, 3, go. This is like 200 BPM. I would switch. Alright, and then the next level is quarter notes at 100, which is like 400 BPM, essentially. Alright, let's give this a shot. It's probably not going to go super well, but it's alright. 1. So, initial observations. Very staccato and lots of dead notes. Let's try it one more time, and then we're going to move down to 60. A lot of room for improvement. But I think this is a very good range from 60 to 100, which we'll practice 3 different speeds from 60 to 100 at 10. So let's think about this. If we start at 60, then we do whole notes at 60, then we do half notes, which is like 120, and then we do quarter notes, which is like 240. Then we up it to 70 BPM, and we do whole notes at 70, half notes at 140, and then whole quarter notes at 280. Then we go up to 80, and it's whole notes at 80, half notes at 160, quarter notes at 320, and we go up to 90, whole notes at 90, half notes at 180, quarter notes at 360. And then we'll go to 100, and then whole notes at 100, half notes at 200, and then quarter notes at 400. And so then if we go through those 4 ranges and then the 3 different tempos within those ranges, that is, I think, very, very, very effective spider walk practice. Because we're practicing playing at all of those tempos. And then, so hypothetically in the future, I think that is a good baseline. 60, 70, 80, and 100, and doing those 3 speeds. But then what we can go in the future is, let's say like we're trying to really work on our fast, whatever, but then we can go beyond that. And then we go, okay, let's try pushing to 110, 120. And then let's say we need to work on our slower speeds and to get a better sense of rhythm. Then we can go slower. We can go to 50, 40, 30. Right? Because the slow speeds are harder than you think they are. That's the thing. The slow speeds are hard because people don't think they need to practice them. They're like, yeah, slow, I got it. It's slow, it's easy. But that's not true. It's almost harder to maintain a rhythm when it's slower. Obviously, for every single wisdom on everything, there are diminishing returns, right? So it's like, I don't think slow speeds are harder than like 600 BPM, like super shreddy stuff or whatever, right? But the principle is generally true. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to work through a bunch of spider walk variations. So we're going to do the ones first where we mess around with the fingering order. So for everything we were just doing right now, that was all first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger. Bum, 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 bum. right? Now we're gonna mess around with the fingering order to like really stretch our brain. We're gonna go second finger, fourth finger, first finger, third finger. 2, 1, 4, 3. Just and to make it simpler, we're just gonna say the number. All right. So this one is 2, 4, 1, 3. We'll start it slower. We're gonna do whole notes at 100. Alright, and so for each of these, we're going to go up 1, down 1, and then up 1. We're just going to do 3 runs, okay? Just to make this simpler. Except we're going to do 3 runs at 2 different speeds. We're going to do whole notes and then half notes. So now we're going to do half notes. Alright, now we're going to switch to 3, 2, 4, 1. So we're going really overboard with our spider walk today, but I think it's good to do that every now and then. Alright, so now we're going to do half notes at that speed. Half notes at that figuring style, I mean. Let's try that again. We had a lot of dead notes. Now we're going to do 4, 3, 1, 2. We're going to start at whole notes. Now we're going to do half notes. Now we're gonna try 1, 4, 2, 3. Man, I got this deviated septum. I can barely breathe through my nose. What a pain in the ass. Can never get that deep breath. Alright, 1, 4, 2, 3. Whole notes. Oops, fucked it. Not very good. Let's try one more time. This is a very awkward fingering, so it's good to practice it. So, part of what makes that fingering so awkward is we're going from the first finger to the pinky, right? It's 1, 4, 2, 3. And so what we're going to start doing after this is we're going to go even deeper with our spider walk variations, and we're going to isolate two string or two note runs essentially. And so one of those two note runs we're going to isolate is the 1, 4, first finger in the pinky. Right? And so the idea is we can learn to play smoother with every single combination of fingers. Right? What's really awkward is going to be the third finger in the pinky. That's extremely awkward. Or second finger in the pinky. Because normally for that sort of distance, you would usually just use your first and third finger. Like I can play that super easily with my first and third finger, but my second finger and my pinky is much more awkward. But if we force ourselves to play in these awkward fingerings, then we'll just be able to glide across the fretboard. And it's going to show up in a million different places. Like we'll be trying to play a scale in a weird way, and the fact that we had isolated these weird fingering styles, it's just going to subconsciously allow us to play better. So let's go back to our 4 finger variations. We're doing 1, 4, 2, 3. See, even right there, right at the end, we were doing pretty good, but it's such an awkward fingering going from your first to your pinky that my third finger just, something in my brain snapped, and it was just like, no, I don't want to use my pinky, and I used my third finger anyways, which is not what we're trying to practice. So, here, let's turn the beat on. Shut up, one more time. And then we're gonna go to our last 4-finger variation. 1, 4, 2, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3. Alright, now we're going to do 1, 3, 2, 4. And then that's going to be our last variation of this style. We still have our Cthulhu thing, and we still have our metal shape. But the metal shape is sort of a different idea. But we're just playing it chromatically, so I've tied it into the spider walk. And so I'm trying to think, is there a better name for this thing I call the metal shape? I'm not the only person who calls that the metal shape. Or it's like, people call it like, yes, this 4-note metal shape sort of thing. But it's like, when you think of it, what is it? It's like the first 4 notes of the Aeolian, like the minor scale. You know what I mean? So let's do our Cthulhu thing, and we're going to play that with whole notes. A better name for this one could be the shifting 1 spider walk. I kind of interrupted myself. But the main idea there is that there is a shifting 1, right? 1, dun, 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 1, dun, 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 right? The 1 shifts. It's the 1 is a 1, and then the 1 is a 2, and then the 1 is a 3, and then the 1 is a 4, right? But the shifting 1 sounds awkward. I like Cthulhu, so I'm going to keep calling it that. This is the Cthulhu spider walk. let's try that at half notes, as half notes rather. So for that one, we kind of added these jumps because we wanted to keep playing it more and more. So we do these jumps, right? We get to the end of the string position and we go up here. Like we're here. And we go up here. And we go up here. So we can squeeze out 2 extra runs. So yeah, there's these other ones that I wanted to practice. I'm gonna have to look these up, but I was describing it a couple times where we just choose 2 fingers and we isolate just those 2 fingers, right? So like the first finger and the pinky, and like the second finger and the third finger, and all of that. Let's look at these. Where is this?
For speed, hardest when you anchor your ring finger. Check this out. It's better than the hand. F16, the E and McDonald's. Whether or not he created this exercise is more of a pain in the ass than that slightly less attractive friend that keeps calling. Check it out.
Oh, this one's a pain in the ass. This isn't even the one I was thinking of, but this one looks like a fucking pain in the ass. See, that one could take too long to learn right now, but we can definitely get to that.
2 and 4. Why was that so hard to do? But we only have fingers 1 and 3 on the neck. Every other string follows a comment to help the algorithm, damn it. That exercise looks pretty tough, eh? But if you stop freaking the fuck out for a sec, we can clearly see that there are 2 patterns going on. Really wondering, useless shit.
Alright, let's not worry about this one. Where is it?
I know that some of you didn't know that. But there you go. But now we're gonna, improviser or write to it. Or learn to be a better improviser or write music that goes beyond the realm of basic chords. Then book a call. But there's a best program on the internet.
Alright, here we go.
Like micro.
You know, honestly, I don't think I really need to look it up. I think I get the idea. But let's look at this. So he does 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4. Then he does 1 and 4, but he does an extra stretch, right? So rather than it being like a minor third, it's an augmented fourth, or something like that. It's a major third, rather. Then he does an even bigger stretch with his 4, right? So this is what he's doing. We'll play it. We'll do this really slowly before we start actually practicing it. He goes 1 and 2, right? Then he goes 1 and 3. Then he goes 1 and 4. Then he goes 1 and 4, but he stretches it a half note higher. And so this is a major third. Then he goes 1 and 4, and he stretches it an even greater half step. So now this is that is a perfect fourth, essentially. Then, I think he goes to 2 and 3. Then he goes to 2 and 3. Right, so let's do this. Then he goes 2 and 4. So that's the second finger and his pinky. Then he goes 2 and 4 again, but he does an even greater stretch. Now this is a really hard one. That is some fucking odd stretching. So he's isolating very weird positions, right? Then he does 3 and 4. So he doesn't try to stretch it even further. Just that one stretch is enough for his second and fourth finger. That's already awkward enough. Then he goes third finger, fourth finger. And so this is going to help us unlock our pinky a lot more. Alright? Then he does an extra stretch with his third and fourth as well. So these are all really good. Really, really good. Really good simple exercises. So let's like turn it down to like 80 BPM. And let's just go through all of those variations. First and second finger. Here we go. Now let's do half notes on that. Let's do that a little cleaner. Alright, now let's do first and third finger. See how awkward that is? I just immediately wanted to sub in a different finger automatically. Let's try that again. Alright, now let's do our first finger and our pinky. First and fourth. Let's just do this up and down for a little bit. Now we're going to stretch to make a minor third interval. This is not about playing musically. This is all just about fingering technique. So if I do this every day, it's gonna show massive results in how we play scales, how we finger chords, how we do arpeggios, especially arpeggios, because arpeggios have all these weird jumps inside of them. Alright, now we're doing an even greater stretch. So now I'm going to play a perfect fourth interval. to switch to our second finger and our third finger. Very awkward. Alright, now we're doing second finger and our pinky. If we get comfortable, if we get comfortable in every finger picking variation, that's not the right phraseology, but you get what I'm saying? If we get comfortable in every fingering position, that is going to be massive. Like, I don't think I've ever focused on just playing with my second finger and my pinky ever before. But I'm like, it's like, it feels so awkward. But then then I do it for a couple ups and downs, and then it starts to feel like, nah, this is normal. And then just being able to have that muscle memory while I'm in the middle of scales and arpeggios is going to make a big difference. I can already feel it. Alright, now we're going to second finger and pinky still, but this time we stretch the pinky. So we're making a minor third interval. This is very awkward. To me, this is the most awkward one. That's so awkward. Okay, now we're going to do our third finger and our pinky. This is super awkward as well. It's like my body's just like, no, use your first finger, use another one of your fingers. Why are you doing this? Why are you using these two fingers? It's like it doesn't want me to do it. It's like, no, we could use our first and our second finger. It'd be way easier. It's like, that's not the point, body. It's not the point, brain. it must be like a left brain, right brain sort of thing. Like, I don't remember which is the one that does which function. But like, one of your hemispheres is like the one that's like thinking abstractly. And the other one is that's like thinking physically or something like that. In the present. Like fine motor skills and details. I'm just gonna do this awkward ass fingering over and over again until it feels normal. Alright, now we're going to do our third finger, and we're still using our third finger and our pinky. But this time we stretch our pinky over and we make like a whole step interval. So it's like a major second. My brain fucking hates me right now. It's like, why are you using your fingers for that? You should use your first and your second finger, your third. Why are you using your third and your fourth finger? That doesn't make any sense. And it's like, no, dude, I'm trying to practice using my other fingers. Calm down. Alright, so now that we did all of the fingering combinations, we did every fingering combination we could think of, this is the advantage. Now let's try doing our 4-note per string metal stretchy shape, right? And then now we're just practiced a ton of doing these weird fingerings. And that's going to help us do our 4-note per string metal shape easier. Alright, let's do this. Let's do 80 BPM. See? That's like buttery smooth compared to what it was a few days ago. Now let's see how we fare once we get to the lower string. It's probably going to fall apart. But that just feels like way smoother. Someone go back and look at the earlier times we were doing this 4-note per string metal shape. It was nowhere near this smooth. It's not at the 4th fret. This is where we had to give up. And we're doing it perfectly. 3rd fret. Alright, now we're having some troubles. But we can fake it a little bit. There. So that was pretty solid. That was pretty solid, all things considered. So that is a fairly we're working on our fingering technique, which is going to show up in every single possible thing we could practice, right? It's not the most exciting thing. It's not the most glamorous. It isn't like 500 BPM sweep picking, but it's pretty fundamental. And so, yeah, we're not going to spend every day doing as that extra a spider walk. Like, how long did we spend on spider walk today? It feels like we spent a lot of time on that. So right now, we're at an hour and a half in. We're almost 2 hours in, and that was all spider walk. So that's pretty extra. That's very extra. But you know what? I think it's good to do that every now and then, because I think we made some concrete improvement. So let's move on into our triads. So it's like, if spider walk is the most fundamental of fundamentals, like literally how you are fingering the strings, then triads is next level of fundamental. Because the triads are the root of every single chord, every single arpeggio, and every single scale. Alright, so then I think we have these minor and major triads fairly concrete, but just for the sake of practice, we're going to go through them. We're going to go through the triads and their inversions. Oh, and this is what I saw this, I don't know when I saw this, when I look at videos. So we've gotten really good at doing these triad inversions, right? So this is C major, and that's a 1, 3, 5. And then the inversion is then you take the 1 and then you flip it to the top, and then you make it into a 3, 5, 1, right? So 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 1, and then you do another one, 5, 1, 3. You get what I'm saying? And then it's the octave, 1, 3, 5. But what you can also do is you could also do inversions of 4-note chords, right? You just do the same exact idea except over a major 7 chord, right? So this is C major 7, 1, 5, 7, 3. So the way I'm fingering it, it's not a perfect piano fingering, essentially, right? A piano fingering is when everything is chronological, right? But on guitar, it doesn't work that easily. So sometimes we can't do the perfect chronological piano fingering, right? So this is not in a perfect order. It's 1, 5, 7, 3. But we could still mess with those orders, essentially, right? So then we could take the 1 and then flip it to be on top of it, and it could be, or what we could do instead is actually take the 3 and then put that here. I actually have to figure this out as we do it. Right? That's the same chord, but it's a 4-note inversion, essentially. So I'm not going to get into that this second, but that is a useful concept that we should look into in the future. So let's just do these triads. Alright, I'm going to just turn a beat on, and we're just going to go through the major triads. Well, I mean, maybe we shouldn't start with major. I feel like we almost always start with major. Maybe we should start with minor. Or maybe we should start with diminished, because we often skip diminished. Diminished is the triad series we don't have, is the one that we have the least. It's either diminished or the sus triads, which are the ones we have the least under our belt. And those are the only, and I would think there would be more triads, but there's not. The only triads is minor, major, diminished, and sus2 and sus4. But it's like, when you think about it, I don't think it's possible to make any other triads, right? Wait, no, there should be possible, right? Like, shouldn't you be able to do like a 1, 4, 6? Isn't that a triad? Like 1, 4, 6. But I think that's actually just winds its way into being a major triad anyways. So I see. That's so awkward, bro. That's so weird. How about this? 1 augmented fourth 6. That just winds its way into being a diminished. So yeah, there really is only those 4 triads. That's so weird. Like, you would think there would be more. And sus2 and sus4 are the same triads, essentially, but you start on a different triad. And so I guess that's what happens with like the 6 triads, is that the 1, 4, 6 turns into major, basically. And so this is why music theory is so, trying to learn music is so confusing, because in the context of the spider walk that we were just doing, 1, 4, 2, whatever, that refers to our fingers, right? Like our first finger, our second finger, our third finger, our fourth finger. But then once we go over into like triads, arpeggios, and chords, when we talk about 1, 3, 2, 4, all of that, now we're talking about scale degrees, right? And minor thirds and major seconds and all of that. Alright, we're putting off working on this. So let's work on these diminished triads. Let's do D flat minor, or D flat diminished, I mean. So one of the things we learned, and I promise I'm not delaying, is that every single, so if we were to do the vertical triads for diminished, it's always a 2 semitones, right? Instead of it, like so if we did major, right? Then it is a 3 gap, a 2 gap, and then a 4 gap. But for diminished, it's literally always a pentatonic jump, or 2 semitones every single time. Which is fucking incredible. Like once you really understand the implications of that, that's fucking mind-blowing. But let's just try to slow down for a second and just think about it solely in the terms of 3-note chord triad and their inversions. Right, so then we got this one, and then we go up here. Yeah. Let's figure this out. Right, so we can think about it that way if we want, but then if we use this, it's more complicated in a way, but it's kind of, it gives us different options essentially. So we got this one. Alright, so here's what I'm trying to understand. So if that is true, that we can just play maintain a diminished tonality, right? So then the question is, let's say we play this diminished triad like this. Bum, bum, bum. Why can't we just, and I'm not saying why can't we, what is happening when we take this whole entire shape and don't do any inversions at all, right? And just bring the entire shape up 2 semitones. So what's happening there, right? So let's try to break this apart in terms of notation, right? So this is D flat, E, and G, right? But if we bring it up 2 semitones, it becomes E, which is in that one. This is G, and then this note is not D flat. This is A sharp. And so there's one note that changes in the triad. So what is the system that predicts that then? So D flat became A sharp. Let's pull up the circle of fifths really quick, and let's see if we can find some sort of abstract relationship on there that could explain this. Right, so B flat and A flat or no, D flat and A flat. Oh yeah, so A flat is one rotation on the circle of fifths above D flat. So then let's take this to its next level then. So B flat, E, and G. Then we go up 2 semitones. It becomes E, G, and A flat. Now if we go up 2 more semitones, does it become G, A flat, and E flat? Let's see. It does. No, it doesn't. It becomes G, A flat, and B. So how does it become B then? So then, alright, let's see if we go up one more series of notes, and if we can, so if we go up one more series, then it'll become A sharp, that is C sharp, and then that is E. Alright, so I have absolutely no understanding how that is occurring, essentially. Is it because I have to use the minor circle of fifths? Is that what it is? But that shouldn't make sense, because diminished isn't technically minor or major. Huh, that's curious. Well, let's try not to get too lost into the weeds over that. I think we understand something is occurring there. So let's just make a mental note about that. We can raise these shapes, and then the notation switches by 1 each time. There has to be some sort of system that explains that. Let's not worry about it, because I doubt that's that important. Or not, it's not that it's not important, it is not the most prescient thing. So let's just worry about these inversions. that is, alright, so then it would be, so that's so interesting, because then what happens if we have that in mind, then we can start swapping out these notes, right? Right? So diminished, I feel like diminished holds a lot of secrets because it's the least explored one, right? So there's all sorts of secret relationships between notes that are very, yeah, this is very odd. But if we have it in mind that no matter where you are, you can just go up two semitones and then you're always going to be hitting a right note, then you're never going to get lost and diminished. And so those are what the vertical triads bring inside of diminished, essentially. Cool. So then let's try doing like this arpeggio thing, right? So that is why, all right, now bringing this back to arpeggios, right? So look, we have this diminished arpeggio shape, right? But then with that information in mind, what we can do is just bring it up two semitones and go like this. And then we can bring it up another two semitones. Bring it up another two semitones. So yeah, that is a neat trick. I'm sure you've heard a lot of black metal where they do some shit like that, right? They're probably playing in the diminished scale, right? And then they'll have some sort of sweepy, diminished arpeggio like that just constantly ascends. So it's just like, you're just like, wow, I really am in hell right now, like.
That was not the cleanest playing, but you see what I'm saying, right? Cool. So then let's try going on to minor then, right? Now, let's practice these vertical triads. That's what we're trying to really get into. Because if we master these vertical triads, that gives us like, I want to say scalability, but that doesn't work because we have scales. It gives us this verticality essentially, right? It helps us accurately predict notes on a vertical axis. Well, it's not that we couldn't already do that to some degree, it just gives us an increasing level of subconscious understanding, right? So this is D minor. And so I'm getting to the point where I've more or less, I don't want to say mastered, but for the sake of of speak, I've developed a more or less, I have a fluidity over these triads essentially, and I can picture the entire the arpeggio associated with the triad. And so now I'm getting to the point where I want to start layering these triads. See, so I want to layer the triad. Here's what I've already done. I've done the triads, and then I've created the inversions from the triads, which create arpeggios. Then what I've done is I've layered the arpeggios onto the caged system. So that is what I've already done, right? Now what I want to start doing is layering these arpeggios onto the pentatonic and the modal scales, right? And so if you layer all of those ideas on top of each other and see them all as one idea, you're in a very good position. So, check it. This is like the D minor, C minor arpeggio, right? Like that's C minor, and then this is D minor. Now what we have to do is see, well, how does the pentatonic fit over that, right? That's what I'm trying to figure out now. So, let's take these three notes and try to figure out a pentatonic that goes over it. So that is a major pentatonic at that particular position, but it seems like it goes over it. Alright, so now let's try this. Alright, so we got this. And then if we put a pentatonic over it, it's like this. Right? Okay, so then, and then let's try to do another pentatonic on top of that. That doesn't work. That one, yeah, yeah. Holy shit. Holy shit. Holy shit. So then, let's try to organize this then. Then what is the one in this situation? So, alright. Let's just start with the observation we've made, okay? This is position 2 pentatonic, right? This is position 1. Right? And that is a minor pentatonic, right? However, for some strange reason, this D minor this D minor arpeggio, works perfectly over the position 2 F major pentatonic. So that is curious. That is very curious. And so then let's act like F major is our root then. What happens then? Then what happens is that we see that D is the major 6 in this scale, right? And 6 are minor, right? Like the 3rd is, they call that the relative minor, but then the 6th is also minor. So then let's just continue this then, right? So this is the D minor, and then this is like we could consider this the 2nd position arpeggio of that triad, right? And then this is the 1st position. Yeah, okay. Oh, right. Yes. So this is that E minor shape. Yes. Okay, and then that goes over this pentatonic. Yes. Now we're cooking. Alright. So this is the regular pentatonic that everybody learned. Like if you take a guitar lesson, this is something they'll teach you on the first lesson, this pentatonic shape. And then in that fits E minor. Well, it's not E minor, in this case it's D minor, but it's the E minor shape, right? Which means when we go up to the second position pentatonic, which is F major, relative to D minor, we get this shape. And then within that, we get the second position arpeggio, which is this D minor shape. Right, and so then let's figure this out real quick before we go any further. So in D minor we have D, F, and A. Right? So then within this pentatonic, the notes that we aren't using, the notes that aren't in that arpeggio are G and C, right? So G and C are also in that pentatonic, but they are not in that arpeggio, which is made out of a 3-note triad of D, F, and A. However, if we throw in C, now we have a 4-note minor 7 arpeggio. And that also fits over the pentatonic. Alright, so then let's switch to the second position and let's throw in that extra note now. And then remember yesterday, or it might have been the day before, but we were all confused why the other positions of the minor 7 arpeggio were major. Now we know why. Alright, so then let's continue this series. Now we go up to the third position. Alright, and so that arpeggio actually stretches across the second and the third position. This is a big arpeggio. You see that? And so that goes between both of these positions. Right? So then, alright, so then the first arpeggio, this one here, just covers the regular, the first pentatonic. The second arpeggio covers the second and third positions, right? And so then if we do basic math, that means we got fourth and fifth position are covered by the third arpeggio, right? Alright, so let's continue with the pentatonics. So the more we ingrain, this is what's going to be our next big grind here. We have to ingrain the relationships between the arpeggios and the pentatonics, right? Just have them super ingrained, right? And what that means is that we can choose to go up or down with either the pentatonic or the arpeggio, but at no point get lost with where we are with either of those ways of organizing the notes, right? So I'm going to ascend using another arpeggio. Right, so this is the next pentatonic, and we're actually running out of notes. So let's move down here and continue with the same concepts we were doing, but down here. So this is the pentatonic, and then this is the other pentatonic. So then this next arpeggio is going to be, yes, right, there you go. Check out the big brains on Brad. Here we go. Holy shit, motherfucker. We just fucking solved the Da Vinci Code right there. This is why you study the basics. This is why you study the basics. How many motherfucking guitar players just like but never observe the most simple of obvious relationships? Alright, and then if you play that pentatonically, it's and those are all related. Alright. That's gonna take some little fadangling around. But if we can ingrain those relationships, holy shit. Okay, so then to review, we have this is the pentatonic one, right? Alright, well, actually, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna switch. So we've been doing all of this in D minor. Let's do this down in A minor, and then we'll see the same relationships, right? So here's pentatonic root 1. This is position 1 pentatonic. Right? That's guitar 101. Alright? Now this is like guitar 102. Right? This is the minor arpeggio. Alright? Now let's go up to the pentatonic position above that. So that's the major pentatonic, right? So we got A minor. Now let's go back to 101, right? A minor, right? And then we go to the third of that. That's called a relative major. So that's the relative major of A minor is C major, right? Which is all the white keys on the piano, right? And then this is the major pentatonic. Fucker. There we go. I almost fucked that up for some reason, right? And then above that, we have this other position of, this is position 3. Oops. I'm getting so excited, I'm literally fucking it up. So, check it. Then, over that, we can put the D minor, or the A minor in this instance, A minor arpeggio. So check it. And that fits perfectly over those two pentatonic positions. Alright, that wasn't the greatest jamming, but you see what I'm getting at? That is an incredible piece of knowledge to have completely ingrained, right? Alright, so then let's continue. Let's continue on this series of pentatonic. So then let's go up to the next pentatonic position. So this is 1, 2, that was 3. Now this is going to pentatonic 4. And pentatonic 4 and 5, right? So we got this one. Oops. Jesus. And we got this one, right? This is 4. And then this is 5. And then over all of that, we can have this A minor, right? This A minor arpeggio. Hold up. You see that? So, okay, we got that. Now let's try and layer on the major arpeggios as well, because those are all the minor arpeggios. Now let's try seeing how the major triads link over that. And then let's say, all right, so okay, so this let's keep this. We're gonna be in A minor, right, with the A minor arpeggios. So we got the one, the flat 3, and the 5 of A, right? But let's say let's take the exact same scale, right, and go up to the relative major, which is C. And then let's change the root, and then do the 1, 3, 5 of C. And then let's keep the exact same scale, but let's change the 1. And then let's use the 1, 3, yeah, okay. Let's do the major triads over the exact same scale. And they're gonna have their own series of relationships. So check it. This is our 1. This is pentatonic 1 in this instance. Because now we're in major. So we do the major pentatonic as the 1. Oops. Okay, so then check this. There you go, that is the major arpeggio. Alright, so then let's go up to the second position. And so this one arpeggio, that fits over the first two positions, alright? So we got this, position 1. And we got position 2. And then this is like the E major shape, right? This is E major in C. So it's the C major, E major arpeggio. Music people know what I'm talking about, right? That goes over those two positions, alright? So then let's go up to the third position. Okay? So then let's take our concept of vertical triads. It's a 3 gap, down to 2 gap, and now we're in the C major arpeggio, right? Holy shit, it works fucking perfectly. Oh my fucking god. Alright, and then the last one is like the G A one, right? The G major and the A shape. Or it's the A shape, it's the A major shape and the G major shape. All of these triads are all C major because we're playing in C major. However, the shape is what changes because we're doing inversions, alright? So then this is position 3. Alright, so now we're in position 4 and 5. And position 5 in major is position 1 in minor, right? Alright, so we got that. And now we're going to do the major arpeggio over that, and it's going to be like this. Holy fucking shit, motherfuckers. We're in business. Holy fucking shit. then here we go. We're developing the tools to never get lost, basically. This is incredible. Now, obviously, it's not always perfect because sometimes it's like you absent-mindedly play the wrong note. But now we have all of the information to basically never get lost. Okay, no. So now, okay, check this. All right. So we saw how. Okay. Let me just practice that before I know what the next step is. But let's just practice this for a second, right? So we got the minor arpeggio. Right? And then we could play the major arpeggios over that. Oh shit. All right. Okay. That's so incredible. That's so incredible. I'm blowing my own mind right now. Oh my God, I can't believe it took me so long to understand something so obvious. Or it's not even that it's obvious, it's just like, you ever heard the expression, you can like lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink? I just drank the water. And now I'm feeling refreshed. So that is how they know how to use the right arpeggios at the right time. All right, so then. So we got that one there. And then the minor arpeggio there would be, alright, so then let's go back down here to feel it out. Alright, so then we go here. Okay. So then, if that's like that, then that means, so then this is going to be like this then. And then that is going to be like this. Oh, G. Okay. Which means that here we're gonna go like this then. So this is what I'm trying to figure out. Now we can see how the minor and the major arpeggios layer on top of the pentatonic, okay? And then we can use the pentatonic as a crutch to tell when we're gonna use each arpeggio. But what I'm trying to drill into me now with that understanding is how we can see the relationship between the minor and major arpeggios. So then we can see all of the arpeggios laid out for these minor and major triads, and then just switch between them at will, and see all the little areas, right, where they interlock and they change. And we can use the pentatonic to figure that out, because we know how the minor relates to the pentatonic, and we know how the major relates to the pentatonic. So now we need to figure out how the minor and major arpeggios relate to each other. Okay, so we're in A minor and C major, basically. And we're going to be switching between A minor and C major, because A is the relative minor to C major, and C is the relative major to A minor. So then we'll do this. And then on top of that, the minor arpeggio would be this. Which sounds very similar, but it's not the same. And then we'll do this. Alright? And then the major arpeggio over that would be this. And then we're going to go up to here, and then the major arpeggio is going to be, or no, the minor arpeggio is going to be, alright, so first let's do the pentatonic. It's going to be this, and then this is the, right, so then the minor pentatonic would be, and then the major pentatonic right here would be this. Alright, so then major, and then minor. And then we'll go up position, and then we'll go into the minor pentatonic, or minor arpeggio. And then we'll do the major arpeggio here. And then do the minor arpeggio. Major arpeggio. Holy motherfucking shit. That is so incredible. That is unbelievable. Okay, and then if I were to go up here, it would be, and then for the major it would be, no. we go here, and we'll play this. That is so big. That is huge. This is why you drill the fundamentals until you feel like you're going insane. Because then you'll never know when you're just going to figure out the big picture. That is so big, man. So then here's the next level of that. Now that we figured that out, this is the next level. So we've been tying those together to the pentatonic, all right? So now we're going to bring it to the next level, which is the modes, all right? And so we're going to see how the arpeggios layer on top of the modes. And then once we start layering and these are the triad arpeggios. Once we see how the triad arpeggios layer onto the modes, then we can start adding in sevenths and start doing seventh arpeggios, which are 4-note arpeggios. And then we can start adding in a ninth and do a 4-note arpeggio with a 9. And then we can start doing all sorts of complicated shit. So let's say that we're in A minor, all right? Now let's go into the A minor mode, right? Aeolian, the natural minor. Oh, nope. See, I'm getting so excited now that I'm like literally messing up the simple shit. So then, alright, check it. And then, okay, here's what we're going to do. Before we start layering on arpeggios, what we're going to do is now we're going to work on the relationship between the pentatonic and the modes. Alright? Because we're trying to make this all into one idea. I can't play guitar where I have, okay, there's the pentatonic over here, and then we got the modes over here, and then arpeggios are here, and then chords are here. They all have to be one idea. So check it. This is the pentatonic 1. Alright? Then that is the minor pentatonic. Then we can do the Aeolian, the natural minor mode, which is a 7-note scale, right on top of that. Okay? Now this is where I'm going to start to get confused, but we can figure this out pretty quickly, alright? So in the pentatonic system, right, when we go up to here, C, then this becomes the major pentatonic, alright? major pentatonic in the modal system. However, or in the pentatonic system. However, if we use the modes, then it becomes the minor Dorian. Or no. It becomes Locrian. It becomes Locrian. Oh, it becomes Locrian here. No. Oh! Alright, I got it. It becomes major. But there's an added note. Holy shit. Oh, we're figuring it all out. We're figuring it all out. Holy fucking shit. Okay, so check it. This is pentatonic. Alright, then when we go to the Aeolian, the minor, right? What happens? We add this note here. We add this extra note before we get to there, before we get to C. And so this extra note at B becomes Locrian, which is the diminished modal scale, right? So Locrian is like this. Or whatever it is. Locrian is the weirdest one. Let me look up Locrian real quick, because it isn't good for me to fuck up Locrian halfway up every single time. So check it. This is Locrian. It's actually not that hard. It's basically it's like that, and then all right. So let me close that real quick. Locrian. Then when we go to the next note, this is major. Now we're at the major scale, which is the 1. Da, da, do, re, mi. Do, re, mi, fa, si, la, ti, do. Do, re, mi, fa, si, la, ti, do. Or it's hello, goodbye. Hello, goodbye, hello, goodbye. Or if you play it backwards, it's friend of the devil. Da, 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 da. Right? Anyways, then what happens is that the pentatonic 2 goes right over the major scale, right? This is pentatonic 2. And then we'll switch that to major. Alright, so you see that? So then what happens is that pentatonic, so get this, major is, and the modal scales are 7-note scales. Alright, the major and modal scales are 7 notes, whereas the pentatonic is 5 notes, as the name suggests, penta, which means there are 2 notes that are added between the modal scales and the pentatonic scales. One of those added notes is this note at B, which becomes Locrian, which is the diminished, right? Right? That is an added note, and so there is no equivalent for that within the pentatonic system, essentially, right? So then if we were to continue this series, right, and let's go up here. So this would be pentatonic 3. That is the 3rd position of the pentatonic, and that was very bad picking. And then on top of that, see, in my mind, this feels like a major scale, though. But if the way modally what comes on top of that is Dorian, alright? So check it. And that layers perfectly on top of that pentatonic, you see? I guess that is a minor. So that's a minor. So then, all right, let's apply chords to each of the pentatonics and the modes. All right. So we started with this A minor pentatonic. All right, and that's obviously A minor. All right, and then on top of that goes the Aeolian, the natural minor mode. Then next we have Locrian. Or no, we don't have, so basically, next we have the Locrian mode. And there is no pentatonic equivalent for it, right? And that is a diminished. So we have this diminished chord. Right? Hang on. There we go. Right? And then we go up to here, and this is major. This is the relative major to A minor, and we have the position 2 pentatonic. And that's the major scale. Alright, then the next one, this is a minor pentatonic. And then we can play Dorian mode over it. Alright, and then we add this note right here, which is this. So this is another one of the pentatonics. Alright, so check it. We got this pentatonic right here. This is position 4. And then that is a minor. And on top of that goes Phrygian, the Phrygian mode, which is used in like Spanish flamenco and also in lots of metal, right? All right. Now, this is, so remember when we said that the pentatonic is a 5-note scale and the modes are 7-note scales, right? So there are 2 notes that are added that aren't in the pentatonic. Now we're at one of the next ones where there's an added note, and it happens to be my favorite scale, which is the Lydian, right? So listen, and so Lydian has an augmented 4th in the middle of a major scale, and so it has, people often say it has a dreaminess to it. Alright? And that is major. Lydian is major. And on top of that, now we go to the next pentatonic position. And this is the one that's one below the 1. So this is pentatonic position 5. this was the first pentatonic position that I figured out that wasn't the primary pentatonic position, right? Because I had only ever learned the original pentatonic, and I had to figure out all of the other positions. And this is the first one I figured out, because I was like, all right, well, we got this position, but then these notes work too. And I was genuinely confused. I was like, well, why do those notes work? Like, I just didn't understand. Like, but those aren't in the scale, but they all work. But they were in the scale. I just didn't understand. Alright, so we got that, and then that is major, and then on top of it we got mixolydian. Alright, and now we're back to minor. That's position 1. And so now we're starting to see how the pentatonic relates to the modes in a clearer way. And we're also starting to see how they also relate to chords. And then now we're going to try to layer on arpeggios on top of that. And the thing is like, this is so crucial, but it's so much, it's so much for my mind to handle. Like, I've just pieced together like a year's worth of information in like a couple hours. So, okay, let's take this slow. This is the Aeolian, the minor. Alright, now let's layer on the minor arpeggio on top of that. Perfect, that makes sense. Now let's go up to the major scale. And now we're going to layer on... No, we can't do that yet. We actually can't do that yet. So what we need to do is see how Dorian and major are tied together for the next minor arpeggio. Alright, so check it. Then we got this. Alright, so then, okay, so we were playing in A, right? And now I'm doing the A minor arpeggio up here, and then I just play this D minor, the D minor for Dorian, and now we switched keys, or we didn't switch keys, but like we just changed keys within the what progression, hypothetically. And now we're gonna do that first arpeggio. And then we're going to play A minor. Then we're going to go back to this arpeggio. Alright, now I'm going to go to C major. That was not the best sounding chord choice, but alright. So let's try this. A minor. And we're gonna do D minor. Alright, and then we're gonna do this. Here we're gonna do this other arpeggio, this other D minor arpeggio, which one is this? So this one's like this. This one is like. Alright, here we go, here we go. Alright, then so let's try going up to E minor. No. Let's do. So we're doing A minor to D minor. Alright, so I think what I want to do is I want to try to play a there we go, A minor 7. Alright, so check it. This is the progression we're going to do. I'm going to make a loop over this. And we're going to mess around on these arpeggios. So I'm going to go A minor to D minor. Back to A minor. Probably do another D minor just so we can mess around for it a little bit. Then we're going to do E minor 7. Then we go down to D minor 7. Then we go A minor. Then I'll do E major 7, just so we get some dissonance. Because in this instance, D major 7 is off key, so that it's a dissonant major. Alright, so check it. I didn't let that. Okay. Ah! All right. Let's do this nice and easy because I want to be able to just go crazy on this loop. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. E minor 7. E major 7. Loop. Alright. Now we're doing the minor 7s. major 7. And then at any point, since we understand all the relationships now, we can just slip back into pentatonic. Now we're going to go into harmonic minor. have just unlocked something incredible. It's like when you go into GTA and you type in the cheat code. Like you used to, remember when we used to buy magazines? You guys remember magazines? And then you'd open up the magazine and they'd have cheat codes in the magazine. We just unlocked the cheat code, basically, is what I'm saying. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power, okay? But knowing is only half the battle. That is intense. That is intense. That was intense shit I just learned right there. I feel like that was like a shock to my whole system. Like my brain was just like, learn it. You need to know it now. Learn it. Do it. Do it now. Alright, I gotta go to the bathroom. I just got the... Just gonna have to really digest all that. You ever heard it said that brevity is the soul of wit? The reason why my mind is so blown by this is because it's so simple. It couldn't be more simple. Yet it is so not obvious. And it combines. Alright, so if we think about this, we're trying to combine every little piece of information we have into one thing, okay? So let's think about the different fronts we have. Let's call them fronts, like as if we're fighting a war, and the war is to become a great guitar player, or to understand how to play guitar, right? So this is one front, the notational understanding. That's what I'll describe it as, notational understanding. Relationships between notes, all right? So we can understand intervals, and using intervals we can understand triads and arpeggios and 5-note scales, pentatonic scales, and modal scales. And then what we just did is we simplified all of that into one idea that all bleeds into each other. Now, let's think about the other fronts that we're having trouble with. So, rhythm. I don't have a lot of vocabulary to understand rhythm very well. We have discovered this idea of whole note, half note, triplets, quarter notes, sextuplets, and eighth notes and 16th notes. That is a start. That is a start. We had heard this idea of galloping, right? Da dun 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 da. That is another eccentric form of rhythm. But it's like I feel like there's so many little rhythmic ideas that I'm just I am not with it. And so we definitely need to expand our rhythmic understanding. Now, there is the front of picking techniques, okay? There's alternate picking. There is sweep picking. There is legato. There is economy picking. And while this doesn't use a pick, I think we can put it in the same category. There is tapping. Because those are all ways you can go about getting the notes to ring out and using different techniques. So yeah. Oh man. And so we figured out this is what it is. It's Bon Jovi, okay? It's Bon Jovi. And if you need me to spell that one out, we're halfway there. And we are living on a prayer. I'm so hang on, let me check. I've got to check when something is scheduled because I gotta have a thing in a little bit. Yeah, so at 4 o'clock. So then, how about we switch gears? Would stop trying to learn and would try to go back, or would stop trying to drill like guitar information, and let's try and let's work on our song. Man, and this is very intimidating for me, cause it's like whew, there's just so much to learn. There's so much to learn, and I'm just so out of my depth. You ever have that happen? Like where you remember something that you wrote like lifetimes ago? I remember one time I was real fucking stoned in high school and I had like this tribal fucking thing. That is a good idea. I could put that in a song. I could even make a whole song out of that. And it was before I knew anything about music theory. And that's why if you look at it, it's literally no scales at all. Bum, 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 bum. You know what I mean? But then you can put all sorts of scalar ideas on top of that. so basically what I did is I'm just lingering on this chord while raising the 1 by a half step every time. And there's some sort of rhythmic thing going. And so I don't have any rhythmic vocabulary. You know what I mean? I have like yeah, I could go like quarter notes, eighth notes, whatever, but that's not enough. Because it's more complicated than that. Fuck, man. Fuck, dude. Yeah. It's tough. It's hard. It ain't easy. Who wrote that song? It Ain't Easy? David Bowie? Man. Okay. So, ideally, if I was really dialed in, this is what I would like for this to be. I would like to be able to just, after my practice is completed, I could just go right into recording music. But I don't feel like I don't think I have the skills yet to do it really. Or I don't know, maybe I do. I just don't feel like I got it dialed in where I can make real meaningful progress on that front. And so what can I do about this? I think really at the end of the day is I'm going to have to find a way to get my skills to be adequate, but I cannot be a producer. I am not Kanye West. And so, again, as I was saying, in the ideal situation, I could seamlessly just go like start recording shit right now because I want to be on the efficient frontier. But I don't think that would be efficient use of my time. I think what now? I need to get outside, get some fresh air, and let some of what I just learned sink in. And then I'm going to come back here and I got to do like some sort of lesson, I guess. So, alright. Let's see how long that went for.
That was 4 hours. Alright, motherfuckers. That was pretty productive. We spent a lot of time on our spider walk variations. And that gave us a lot of extra fluidity, and I felt that. We went through our triads, and then we started layering the triad arpeggios over the pentatonic, both minor and major arpeggios, and then seeing how they related to each other. Then we layered the pentatonic on top of the modal scales, and then we layered the minor and major arpeggios on top of the modes. And then we started getting into creating chord progressions, doing arpeggios over those chord progressions, and then going into more complicated chords, right? So our 3-note arpeggios and 4-note arpeggios, right? And so we did this progression where we had A minor to D minor, A minor to D minor, then we went to E minor 7, which is a 4-note arpeggio, and we went into that, and then we went to D minor 7, and that's a 4-note arpeggio, and then we went to A minor, and then up to E major 7. And so we're learning how to start soloing on chord changes and being able to slip back into these pentatonic positions and then add all the extra modal scales. And all of that on top of each other combines all those notational fronts into one idea. And so we're just going to have to keep working on that. And then it'll become very seamless, and we'll just all of a sudden be like to somebody, like, this is what it is. I think there are guitar players who understand that idea, just layering arpeggios and modes and pentatonic on top of each other, and there are guitarists that don't understand that. And the guitarists that don't understand that are always perpetually confused at how these people are playing so good. And so we're not going to be one of these perpetually confused guitar players. So, alright, we're going to close it out. But it's been productive. It's been pretty productive. Tomorrow, we're probably going to get more into drilling here's what we're going to do. This is what the future looks like. We're going to drill these picking techniques, but we're going to do our drills for them. However, we need to start spending time incorporating them into our jams. And so now we have the tools to create intricate jams and then to incorporate those techniques into them. So, with all of that,